Okay, quick reminder before we get started that every 25 subscribers, I'm making a new tutorial. Something to keep in mind. So subscribe if you want more tutorials on all kinds of stuff. Okay, let's get into the tutorial. Okay, we've got a bit of an interesting one today, at least I think so. It's a regularly requested effect. So essentially I've got a button here and it says equip a shotgun and become sniper. So here's the idea for this one. The idea is that we want to be able to change out a particular weapon that a character has for another weapon, maybe to change mode in the game or whatever. So what I've got here is a button. Now this button is just a trigger, it's just an activator, a thing to make the thing happen. And I've said equip shotgun and become a sniper. So right now I've got nothing. So if I hit the E button, which I am, it does nothing. If I put the pistol in my hand, it does nothing. If I put the shotgun in my hand, it changes it out to a sniper, just like that. Shotgun's gone. So let's figure out how to do that. Okay, we're inside of UEFN. Let's take a look at all of the devices that we need to do this, and then we're going to look over the verse code. So first on the left is our game manager device, which is our code. We'll cover this in a sec. Next thing over is a button. You don't have to use a button. You could use anything to make this happen. Well, we're using a button to make it happen. If you're wondering how I made the button look the way it did, check over in the details panel. We'll see that I've changed the interaction text to say equip a shotgun and become a sniper. Other than that, nothing different. Moving over to the next thing, which is an item granter. We want to be able to grant weapons when the game starts. So all I've done for this one is set the grant action to clear the inventory. I want to grant all of the items. We'll give some extra ammo. And then inside of here is a shotgun, pistol, and the ammo accordingly for those weapons. We want to enable this at the game start. Receiving players is all, so everybody in the game gets this weapon loadout. The grant condition is always. We don't need to grant on a cycle. We don't need to equip any granted items. We also want to make sure to grant on game start, and the rest of it is default. No worries there. Okay, next item granter. This is the item granter that is going to grant the weapon we want to give, like the special weapon. So in this case, it's the sniper rifle we're granting. So inside of here, we want to change the grant action to keep all. We want to grant all the items, giving a sniper rifle plus ammo. The rest of this is actually default, but just to go over it, it is enabled on the game start. The receiving player is a triggering player, even though we're actually triggering it with code. And the grant condition is always grant on a cycle. The cycle is set to stop once it's done. And the drop items at player location if the inventory is full. It shouldn't be because we're going to remove an item. And the ownership of the dropped item will be the receiving player. These are just default. Nothing else to change there. All right, so the next item is the item remover. The item remover is what removes the item that we want to get rid of. So to become a sniper, you got to give up your shotgun. So inside of here, we set the item list to have the shotgun taken out, which is the one that we granted in the initial granter. And we're going to set affected item to weapons. So the amount that we want to remove is the item that's in the device. And so that's set down here in the item list. Apply it to the player, not the players of a team, class, or all players, just one player, because we're actually going to do that with verse code. So I don't know if it actually matters, but we're going to set that to be player. The rest of this is all just default. Okay, moving on to the last item, which is kind of the most important because it is what detects whether or not we have an item in place already. So we don't want a sniper becoming a sniper again kind of thing, or we want to be able to test a particular loadout to make sure that they have that particular loadout to give them another thing. So we're using a conditional button. Conditional button device is really handy because we can check to see if somebody's carrying something, and we can also check to see if they've got it equipped, which is a reasonably new ability in the conditional button. So inside of here, we're going to check to see if the shotgun exists. If it does, then we're going to get a return of true, or at least it succeeds in returning something in verse. Okay, so there's two changes that I made to the default behavior of this button, other than, of course, the item that we're going to detect, is I've put require holding item, and this is a new feature, as mentioned, which is kind of handy. The visible during game. We don't want it visible in the game because we don't want people walking up to it and having it detect things and show stuff. So we'll just make it invisible. We're really just using this to figure out what player has in their inventory. Let's head over to verse, because this is the best part, and it is very easy. So all the devices that are in the scene are going to be editables, right? So we have an editable weapons granter, the item granter device that we put the initial weapons in. We have the sniper granter, which also is an item granter device, editable. Item remover, change button, which is the button that we set to click to trigger this thing to go on. Again, you do not have to use a normal button. Do anything you want. And a conditional button. This is the button that's going to detect whether or not we are carrying and holding the shotgun. So simple. On begin, we go change button, interacted with event, and subscribe. We're going to call on button press. When this happens, it passes in the agent that pressed the button, which is me in this case. So on button press is called passes in the agent. We go to the conditional button. We say, is the agent that clicked the button holding the item that we have in our list in that conditional button, which is done with is holding item with square brackets. Square brackets because this is a failable return. And then inside of here, if this does succeed, we take the item remover and we remove the thing that's in there, passing in the agent, so the player that clicked the button, and we tell the sniper granter, grant the items that you have to the player that clicked the button. And that's it, you're done. This is how you can detect whether or not somebody is carrying a particular weapon. You can detect whether or not they're actually holding it at the time. And then, of course, this is how we can remove that particular weapon and then go ahead and grant something else. So super cool feature, a neat little effect that you can do. And hopefully it's been interesting. I'll see you guys in the next one.